Hi, today we'll be exploring Lego-based therapy, which targets social development intervention with children with ASD and other conditions affecting social competence. Children with ASD often struggle with initiating and maintaining social interaction, often experiencing social isolation. LBT can help children practice communication, cooperation, and understanding others through teamwork. In LBT, there is an engineer that reads instructions for the supplier and the builder. The supplier hands Lego pieces for the builder to assemble with the engineer's instructions. Students collaborate together to engage in joint achievement. Teachers become an intentional, playful facilitator to give space for the students to explore shared work. Prior teaching of prepositional concepts help establish a shared linguistic code. Teachers will be rather hands-off, passing the verbal responsibility to proactively resolve differences of opinions. Teachers also use a token economy to encourage communication through positive reinforcement. Peer mediation scaffolds communication, reducing the need for teacher intervention.
The research on LBT is quite mixed. However, it does show that LBT can be helpful specifically for autistic children as it helps empower their social interactions. However, there are some issues with implementation limiting its effectiveness. For example, targeted interventions are sometimes too narrow, and despite its flexibility, some variations in need can actually hinder the impact it has. Also, LBT is heavily reliant on school resources. So this can be staff and also teachers' abilities and their belief in being able to deliver these interventions as well as funding. Also, there are a lot of tensions in the research in comparing controlled situations and applying these findings into complex real-world situations. Overall, despite this, LBT can be helpful and has major strengths, and these limitations can be limited and mitigated. For example, universal interventions are more straightforward, and actually having smaller group interventions can help target more specific skills like motor skills or social communication. Overall, the research shows that more research needs to be done to broaden our understanding and apply these findings into more realistic settings.
Evidence-based interventions can fail if they are not implemented properly. High-quality implementation improve outcomes. Consistency and correct dosage are very essential. Key factors such as staff training and ongoing support are needed. Implementation is an ongoing cycle. Plan, deliver, monitor, and evaluate.
As educational psychologists, to implement LBT, you will be needing to assess and identify pupils who will benefit from LBT. You'll need to plan interventions and design evidence-based intervention plans, including group size, session frequency, and duration. You'll also be needing to monitor the implementation fidelity, ensuring that appropriate role use and quality of interaction is continuous. And you'll also be needing to train and support staff to deliver LBT effectively.
This slide outlines a step-by-step process of implementing interventions within a local authority. The first step is conducting a strategic needs audit to identify gaps in provision. Next is to give resources and infrastructure needed to be organized, including funding. The third step focuses on workforce training and coaching. The fourth step is fidelity and dosage monitoring, where implementation is tracked through observation checklists and monitoring consistency. Finally, multi-agency review and adaptation allow stakeholders to evaluate outcomes.
As an educational psychologist, these are some of the practical recommendations you can make to schools. Firstly, is helping them to set up the intervention properly, making sure it's structured and in a predictable environment, targeting the appropriate pupils, monitoring progress through observations, pupil voice, review meetings, and school social communication measures, training and supporting staff, and embedding skills across school by generalizing skills and encouraging pupils to use communication, turn taking, and problem solving skills. Thank you so much for watching.